Right now, if we look at what's playing out in Ukraine, there's massive fighting, assault that's being reported in the eastern parts of Ukraine, the rebel-held regions. It's here that Russian troops are now fighting to push back Ukraine and take full control of the region. And India Today's Geeta Mohan gets you these world-exclusive reports of what's really happening on the ground in Donetsk. Massive shelling, massive operation over here in Elyanka. You can see there, smoke still billowing. This entire camp was attacked. It had a lot of tanks, armored vehicles, Ural trucks and artillery carrier vehicles as well. Has been attacked. So officers over here trying to now assess the situation. They're trying to retrieve all the armored vehicles, artillery carriers and tanks as soon as they can and save as many as they can. But if you see over here, the situation pretty bad. The forces have moved out of here and they're trying to retrieve as many as they can. This is also a base camp where captured Ukrainian tanks and armored vehicles were brought in and then were sent for repair and then to be reused. So a very important camp over here has come under Ukrainian attack. I'm being joined by Officer Ilya, who will explain what really happened over here and how are they trying to contain the Ukrainian forces.
Дальнейшие наши действия идти вперед и только вперед, не останавливаясь. Занимать непосредственно, возвращать непосредственно границы Донецкой Народной Республики. Как говорится, в свои земли.
So the only action he is planning now, he knows that we're gonna continue to push and taking back our grounds, which is must be under Republic control.
There was major shelling over here. Now, what is the sounds? What are they doing? Are they diffusing? Are they detonating? What are they doing?
Сейчас звуки хлопков происходят. Сейчас это что это происходит сейчас?
Это непосредственно это сейчас в данный момент происходят действия наступательного характера.
So, okay, let's wait a bit, okay? So the thing is, you're asking about what is happening here, but it's not the same you want to ask now at the moment. So let's do other questions or...
Okay, so ask him how many Ukrainian soldiers were they? This was his force, his team. How many Ukrainian soldiers did his team capture?
Есть у вас вообще за время операции, были украинские пленные у вас?
Да, были много десятков, потому что наш полк уже порядка 17 населенных пунктов, это не считая те, которые мы прошли, 17 населенных пунктов мы взяли боями.
So they took around 17 villages and small...
Надо прекращать.
Okay, let's stop it.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Donetsk की तरफ जा रहे हैं और कुछ अभी भी यहाँ पर हैं जो अपना घर छोड़ के नहीं जाना चाहते। वोल्वोनाखा में गीता मोहन आज तक।
We're here in Volnovakha, a city absolutely destroyed. Irina is a resident. Irina, tell us your experience of what really happened over here. You're living over here 24th of Feb.
From 24 to 10, 12 of March. It was very horrible. What else? A lot of жертвы.
Victims.
A lot of victims. childs, old people, young people.
Lost their lives. How many people left Volnovakha after the attacks? Did they leave the city?
Some lived, but returned, partly returned, and I think now from 5 to 10 thousands.
People are back?
Yes.
Why? The city is destroyed. There is no life right now in the city. Why are you returning?
Because it's my home. I had here work. I had my house, but some partly destroyed, and I think.
You want to rebuild it again, I guess.
But no, so soon as we want.
Okay. Irina, we know that this city, many consider part of Donetsk. Ukraine considers part of Ukraine. But right now, it is under the Russian control and control of Donetsk. What is your opinion of what has happened and what's the situation on the ground? Right behind you is what you call Red Square. The Red Square comes from Russia. So, destroyed. So, explain what was the leanings over here of people? How did they think?
I can say only about my opinion.
Yes, please give your opinion.
My thoughts. My thoughts, course of Russian is absolutely right. Yes, for me it's very painful because my town is destroyed absolutely. But Ukrainian government I don't like. I didn't like from 2014.
Did you suffer a lot in 2014 also? Did Volnovakha?
Yeah.
Major evacuation operation being undertaken over here in Volnovakha. The people over here will be evacuated to camps in Dokuchayevsk, which is a city not very far from here, only to ensure that they're in a safe place, have food, have shelter till the time the city in all probability is reconstructed. So there is a process in place. People's names are put on a list, and those whose names are on the list are taken by buses. This is one such bus, but there are many buses that ply from Volnovakha to Dokuchayevsk, and a lot of youngsters also leaving. They have not much to do because the city is absolutely destructed. But yes, there are people who are not willing to go. They want to stay over here and start rebuilding, reconstructing. We see a lot of cleaning that also is happening in the streets. And there was a major movement of tanks and armored vehicles of the Russian and Donetsk forces from Volnovakha to someplace else. So there's a lot of movement of security forces as also evacuation of civilians and citizens over here in Volnovakha. With it, a destroyed city that requires humanitarian aid and food. The queue that you see over here are of people of Volnovakha who have queued up to receive their daily bread. This is a van that has come to distribute bread to the people of Volnovakha. There are various other vans that come with other food items, but food is scarce. There is no gas and electricity in Volnovakha, and water also becoming rather scarce in the town. So they're using it with really economically. Economic usage of water, food in very little supply, so they're trying to be very, very careful in how they use their food supplies, and administration trying to ensure that at least there's some help that is provided to the people of Volnovakha who have decided to stay on and not leave the town. So this is the first day we have arrived, so have the people from Donetsk. Food for Life is now going to provide food every day. But how difficult was it? If you could ask this gentleman over here, how difficult was it for the days when this food was not being provided?
Тяжело очень было, очень.
It was very hard, he said.
How are they managing food then?
Как вы справлялись? Откуда брали еду?
Ну, запасы, которые бы оставались, вот, те запасы и ели.
So they used supplies they had and share it between each other.
А сейчас, которая привозит, ну, еду, ну, питаемся ей, потому что больше запасов нет.
They now out of supplies, so they can eat only the things can be brought in by organizations, by help.
Okay.
Пытаемся работать, вот, зарплаты пока нету. Проработали уже почти месяц, зарплаты нету.
So people came to their work again and they're waiting for salary now.
What's your name?
Дима.
Thank you, Dima. So, food being supplied over here. People are coming to get their food. People have run short of food supplies. That's why they're waiting over here to get whatever they can. The irony of the conflict today. What you see behind me is called Red Square, taken after the Red Square in Moscow in Russia. Many people over here are still pro-Russia despite the destruction that their city has witnessed. And unfortunately, this Red Square has also fallen victim to the latest conflict. But the people over here say that in 2014-2015, they consider themselves part of Donetsk. And once it was taken over by Ukraine in the 2014-2015 conflict, the statue of Lenin was taken down on the other side. And today we see that the Red Square also no longer stands. So the situation over here, quite bad, but the conflict is also within of people who are living in Volnovakha, who are pro-Russia or pro-Ukraine, and the ones who are pro-Russia are sad about the city being destroyed, but not sad about not being under Ukrainian control anymore. When did this food start coming to the city?
From 2 weeks ago, maybe even earlier, I don't remember.
Are you a student?
Yeah. Student from Kharkiv University, Kharkiv National University, HP.
Oh wow! So when they announced the operation, did you then immediately come to your home to Volnovakha?
We have distant learning, and I was in Volnovakha. So when the operation starts, I was in Volnovakha.
You were in Volnovakha. Otherwise, you're a student in Kharkiv.
Yeah. I am from Volnovakha, but learn at Kharkiv. Yeah.
Today, why are you still here? What do you want to do? Do you want to rebuild the city? What is it that you want to do?
Here, I don't have a place where I can live, where I can go. I don't know, because I must learn now, but in Kharkiv this difficult situation too, and I don't know where I could go.
Your entire family is here. Is your house destroyed or is it still there?
Still there, but my entire family almost here. Only one is left to his family.
You see destruction everywhere. Are you angry that your city is destroyed?
That's hard to explain, but it's war. It can be rebuilt from. It took years maybe, but it will be rebuilt. I hope so.
Почти с того света вытянули. Спасибо людям в белых халатах. Низкие поклоны. С Докучаевска. Очень благодарю. Очень
Her husband was evacuated to Dokuchayevsk, and he was saved by doctors there. So she's saying big thanks from her to doctors who saved his husband's life. She wants to find him because she did not have connection.
Is she alone here?
Вы сейчас здесь одна?
Нет, я сейчас с дочкой. У нее семья, разбомбленный дом, она у меня пока находится.
Her daughter house was destroyed, and now she lives with the daughter in her place because her house is okay.
The extent of damage over here shows what really happened in Volnovakha. This is a BMP-2 destroyed, homes bombed, shelling marks on the walls. To take Volnovakha, it took a lot of fight between the Ukrainian forces and the Russian forces. Homes over there, school, absolutely destroyed, bombed. This again is a city that bears a deserted look, but there are still a lot of people who are not going to leave the city of Volnovakha. They're determined to stay here to rebuild the city. Many others who have no place to go. And then there are those who have already left Volnovakha. With video journalist Satya Rautre in Volnovakha, Geeta Mohan for India Today.
And in our next report, we focus on the aftermath of the Bucha massacre. Here on India Today, we've been getting you those horrifying images and videos of civilians' bodies lined up on the streets of Bucha. And since then, there have been a lot of questions being asked of Russia. Russia has maintained that this is a fake attack orchestrated by Ukraine. But Ukraine raised this Bucha killings at the UNSC and called this one of many Russian genocides. The United Kingdom and European Union are now calling for stricter sanctions for a crackdown against Russia.
Streets strewn with corpses. Bodies buried in shallow graves. Burned bodies left in the open. The grisly images of battered Bucha have sparked global outrage. Ukraine has raised the Russian brutality in Bucha at the United Nations Security Council. Kyiv has urged the UN to strip Russia of its veto power.
The UN system must be reformed immediately so that the right of veto will not become the right of a death, so that there is a fair representation of all world regions in the Security Council.
Without naming Russia, India condemned the civilian killings in Bucha and called for an independent probe.
We unequivocally condemn these killings and support the call for an independent investigation.
Moscow is facing global revulsion and accusations of war crimes after the Russian pullout from the outskirts of Kyiv revealed horrors inflicted on the civilian population. The UK has urged G7 to ban Russian ships and set a timetable for oil and gas exit.
On Thursday, I will be urging our NATO and G7 partners to go further in sanctions by joining us in banning Russian ships from our ports, cracking down on more Russian banks, going after industries that are filling Putin's war chest, like gold, and agreeing a clear timetable to eliminate imports of Russian oil, coal and gas.
Germany, France and Spain have expelled dozens of Russian diplomats following the Bucha killings.
I announced that this morning we have decided to expel Russian diplomats and staff from the Russian embassy in Spain, who represent a threat to the interest and security of our country.
The United States is seeking to expel Russia from the UN Human Rights Council.
Yes, the president does not believe, he believes it's ludicrous for Russia to be a member of the Human Rights Council. And certainly the ambassador spoke to this today, and while she was on her overseas trip, and she will continue to make the case in her role when she returns to New York.
Russia has rejected all the charges. Kremlin claims Bucha is a monstrous forgery aimed at maligning Russia.
The entire course of events, a huge amount of data, facts and other parameters do clearly witness that this is a forgery conducted to try and smear the Russian army. It will not work.
Russia is facing other grave charges too. The UN has accused Russia of using cluster bombs in Ukraine.
OHCHR has received credible allegations that Russian forces have used cluster munitions in populated areas at least 24 times.
Cluster munitions pose an immediate threat to civilians during a conflict. Such bombs randomly scatter submunitions or bomblets over a wide area. The Convention on Cluster Munitions is an international treaty that prohibits all use, transfer, production and stockpiling of cluster bombs. World leaders are calling for tougher sanctions and accountability for alleged Russian war crimes in Bucha. Bureau Report, India Today.
And as we get you the latest updates from Ukraine, another aspect of this conflict and this war that we're tracking is the refugee crisis. Maushami Singh gets us this report from Lviv, which is serving as a city of transit for Ukrainians who are fleeing from their homes and trying to make it to countries like Poland.
It was billed the war of the unequals. But after more than 40 days, Ukraine is not just standing, they have even pushed back the Russian forces. Almost the entire world is rooting for the underdog, who's taking on mighty of Vladimir Putin's war machine. Ordinary citizens are volunteering to help the Ukrainians in their hour of need. India Today met two Italians in Lviv, the transit city of people escaping the war and heading towards Poland.
It is the city of lions. It is the city which is a city of refugees because everybody from the east fleeing to the western countries is in fact using this as a transit. And we have two heroes, you know, ordinary people from across countries making it count here. How are you contributing to this entire humanitarian help for the Ukrainians?
Mission now for us is stop the war, and help the people under the bombs. Stop all the war.
And you'll go to any length for that. How long have you been doing this? For how many days you've been doing this, and you want to stop the war?
We are here since 1 week. We work in the Polish border.
Stand with the people of Ukraine.
Stand with the people against all the war, all the war.
Across the border, in the Polish city of Wrocław, an Indian restaurant is donating food packages to the refugees.
Here you can see that a dash of help from Indians in Wrocław, even as Poland has, you know, reached out to the refugees who have come here from Ukraine. Wrocław has stood out as far as a shining example is concerned.
Every day, 50 to 100 food packages are supplied with the help of NGOs.
The Indians who are here are also pitching in. You can see the entire dishes that have been prepared, and this is for refugees who've come. This is Kartike Jori, who's been packing this for days at end. Every day, Kartike ji, किस तरह से आप लोग भी कहते हैं कि मदद का समुंदर की जरूरत है, बूंद-बूंद से सागर भरता है.
जी हाँ. Actually,
how do you manage everything every day? What all do you send?
Actually, there are a lot of Ukrainian people who are vegetarian and vegans, and they can't get the food proper here. That's why we are helping these families through NGOs, for local NGOs, and daily we have about 50 to 100 foods we are supplying to them.
Rice, vegetables, samosas, sweets. The menu covers the best of Indian food.
There you can see that it's being packed in various cartons, and what all is there for the menu, because their taste is quite different. What all do you send?
No, actually everyone likes our Indian food and Indian spices. We have here basmati rice, we have the mango salad, we have here some sabji, samosa and cheese balls, these things. All these are.
Indians preparing food packets are happy to be part of the huge relief operation.
रोज हम कभी कभी वेजिटेरियन देते हैं, वेजिटेरियन ज़्यादातर वेजिटेरियन देते हैं, कभी बटर पनीर हो, कभी पालक पनीर हो गया, पनीर धनिया अदरक की ऐसी, रोटी हो गया, जैसे समोसे हो गए, समोसे, चीज़ बॉल्स, ये लोग हमको खुशी होती है, बस हम हेल्प जो चाहे कर सकते हैं, थोड़ा जितना हो सकते हैं हमें.
Since the war began, over 4 million Ukrainians have become refugees. They need every bit of help they can get.
People who are working here, Indians from Uttarakhand to other parts of the country, pitching in their own masalas and flavors to ensure that people who've left their homes, fled their homes, don't feel deserted and left to fend for themselves. And here also Indians pitching in and doing their bit. With video journalist Parminder Sharma, this is Mosmi Singh in Wrocław for India Today.